Building influence is something anyone can learn. It's an investment you can make in yourself, and it can hold the keys to achieving your dreams and having the life and impact you want to have. I'm Laura Cox Kaplan. I've learned a lot over 3 decades about building and sustaining influence and how using it and using it effectively can make a big difference in your life and career. Here on She Said podcast, we're digging into the different dimensions that help us build and sustain influence. If you thought being an influencer was just for social media, think again. Whether you're starting a business, raising money for a cause, negotiating a promotion, running your household, or trying to connect with those who don't share your views, understanding and using the different dimensions of influence will increase your chances of success, whatever your goals may be. Listening to She Said podcast is a smart, efficient investment you can make in you. I'm really glad you're here, and I'm excited we're on this journey together. Hey friend, welcome to episode 186. I am so happy to have you here. I just want to say before we get started today, I am so grateful and so gratified by all of the messages and notes and stories that you shared with me after episode 184, when I shared a little experience that I had dealing with falling into the comparison trap and then working to tackle my own self-doubt and pull myself back up. You guys shared amazing perspective and such great stories, and your support was really great to hear. So I am so gratified by that. If you're listening and you missed episode 184, be sure and go back and listen. And let me know if you have any additional tips that you would share that I can add to my list. This week, however, as I sat down to think about this episode, I was thinking about luck. I've always been a believer in luck. Maybe it's my Irish roots and heritage. But perhaps the reason why I'm such a big believer in luck is because I actually think we have more ability to impact our luck, as it were, than we're often led to believe. Luck is defined as a force that brings good fortune or adversity. Luck can obviously be good or bad, after all. We've all heard stories about someone just being in the right place at the right time, or even the wrong place at the wrong time. Those circumstantial events that create an opportunity, good or bad. But here's the thing. Under those exact same right place, right time circumstances, would the same lucky break be conveyed to anyone who found themselves right there, right at that moment? Last week in episode 185, I sat down with founder and jewelry designer Mignon Gavigan. Her innovative beaded scarf necklace, which I'm a big fan of, as you'll recall if you listened to the episode, it was both a product of her creative mindset, but perhaps most importantly, it was a product of her openness to see opportunity and to be ready for it when it came around. Now, Mignon, who actually goes by Maggie, shares such great perspective in our conversation on leveraging opportunity and actually turning that opportunity into a lucky break. But Maggie's lucky break likely happened because she was prepared and ready for it. As she tells us in the conversation, she had been working across the fashion industry in different sectors, in shoes, in handbags, and also for different design houses. And all of those experiences helped open her perspective to possibility and to opportunities that she might not otherwise have known were possible. I really loved that. But it left me with a question that I want to pose to you today. Is luck about what happens to us or how we react to what happens to us? Then last week, my family celebrated our son Ben's long overdue bar mitzvah. For those who aren't familiar, the bar mitzvah is, of course, the wonderful coming of age ceremony in the Jewish faith. As my turn came to walk up to the bema, or the pulpit as we would have called it at the First Baptist Church of Rising Star, I was tasked with giving Ben some motherly advice. As I reflected on what to say, I thought about how differently my life had turned out from what I might have imagined when I was Ben's age. In fact, I could never have imagined myself standing there in that spot celebrating my firstborn's bar mitzvah. But God had other plans. And I am incredibly grateful every single day that He did, and that He helped me be open to and ready for opportunities that ultimately presented themselves. As I was thinking about things, a few that popped into my head were being seated next to my future husband at a dinner party one night, taking a meeting with an executive at PricewaterhouseCoopers when I wasn't looking for a job, returning a phone call from a corporate board chairman that turned into a corporate board opportunity. And those are just a few that popped into my head when I started thinking about this. As I shared some advice with my son, Ben, for creating opportunity in his own life and for helping him realize his own unique potential, the advice that I shared with him boiled down to a handful of tips that I think can help us actually create our own luck while also helping us build and sustain influence in our lives. These are tips that have served me well and that I've watched countless others employ in their careers, in business, in politics, and in life. And I thought I'd share these 5 things with you today. First, it's important to put the best you forward. Now, to do this requires that we get really clear on who we are and on those things that you do really well and where you often add value. It's those qualities that others often comment on and those traits that often differentiate you. These may also be those skills that you've practiced and developed, essentially your preparation, things that you've fine-tuned in yourself. And there's a bonus to this one. Having a good sense of who you are, what you know, what you can do, and what you can contribute can help you show up with more confidence, whatever the circumstances. And confidence and how we show up actually helps us create opportunity. Again, it's how we show up, and that relates to my second tip. Number 2, when you show up with an open mind. We often talk about mindset and the importance of looking at challenges with a growth mindset, to quote Stanford professor Carol Dweck. Essentially, looking at what we can learn from the situation, good or bad, that we find ourselves in. I've always thought that there was a direct connection between luck and mindset. How open was the person to the opportunity that presented itself? Often the greatest stories that we hear about lucky breaks happen when the person is least expecting it, but when she is prepared to take advantage of the opportunity or the challenge when it presents itself. That was certainly true in the story that Maggie shared with us in episode 185. But the most important aspect is openness to possibility, even one that might not at first be obvious. Every challenge is an opportunity to learn and grow. That doesn't mean that every encounter or challenge will result in sunshine and roses, but it does mean if you know yourself and you're looking for opportunity everywhere, you're much more likely to emerge from whatever the challenge is stronger, better, and more ready for the next opportunity. When I looked up the origin of Irish luck, it actually has a great deal to do with an optimistic spirit, one that helps us bounce back faster in the face of adversity. It also tends to be embedded with a deep sense of gratitude. It's essentially embracing that growth mindset and asking yourself, what can I learn from this situation? Then number 3, know your values and which lines you absolutely will not cross. When you're open and seeking opportunities everywhere, Sometimes the opportunities that we get aren't necessarily the ones that we should pursue, and it can be really confusing to know the difference. But at its most simplistic, it's a matter of checking that opportunity against your own values and against what matters most to you. I think about this a great deal in my life as a mom. Certain risks, career or otherwise, that I might have been willing to take if I were single and I didn't have precious people counting on me every day. That's not to say that I can't take risks, but there are some pretty clear lines that I won't cross today, especially because of my children. There may be other top priorities on your values list. Whatever those things are for you, it can be super helpful to write them down, to actually get them out of your head so that you can see them on paper. I think this is an especially helpful practice when you have to make a decision, but you find yourself at a crossroads. Which path aligns with your values and what's most important to you? And is the opportunity something that's likely to help you keep learning and growing in all the ways that are most important to you? Number four, and this really falls into the bucket of a daily habit that I think can improve your life and the lives of those around you. It's make a commitment to yourself to do one thing that makes life just a little bit better than the day before. It doesn't have to be something huge. Maybe it's just setting aside time to listen to your favorite podcast, and I hope it's this one, or to read something that helps you refuel your brain and your soul. Or maybe it's just making a little space every single day to reflect and be grateful. Or maybe it's studying to learn a new skill, or committing 15 extra minutes to decluttering, or to devoting time to mentoring someone else, or to sharing an Atta Girl with someone on your Instagram, as I talked about in episode 184. Whatever it is, can you make that little commitment to make each day just a little bit better than the one before? Can you improve yourself and your little corner of the world with a small action here or there? And finally, number five, don't let your grand plan block your view of opportunity. Plans and goals are great, but not if they limit your ability to see opportunities that might not align precisely with the plan. Now, this one is especially tricky because only you really know whether an opportunity aligns with your values. Again, having real clarity on them becomes essential to making the right decision for you. Should you take that risk with your business? Should you take that risk that requires you to quit your job and pursue something completely different? Should you get married? Should you have a baby? How do all of these things align? How does the choice or decision help you bring your own unique brand of God-given magic to the world? How does it shape your ability to bring value to others? That, at the end of the day, my friend, is the point. How can you create those opportunities for yourself that enable you to bring your best self forward and in a way that creates more value for the world? On that note, I wish you all the luck that you can create for yourself and that you can inspire in others. You get what you give after all, and that can be an incredibly important part of building and sustaining your own influence to get what you want out of your life. I hope you'll be back with me next week when I'll be welcoming my guest, Molly Feening. She's the co-founder of Babyators and more recently, her career evolution as CEO of Charleston-based Red Clay Hot Sauce, a fabulous, fabulous product. My conversation with Molly continues our collaboration series with the Southern Cootery. I've included a link to the Southern Sea in the show notes for this episode so that you can learn a bit more about that fabulous organization as well. As always, friend, I hope you found this little investment of your time worthwhile. And I'd love to hear your thoughts on the topic of luck, on influence, on creating opportunities, or anything else that's on your mind. You'll find me on Instagram at Laura Cox Kaplan, or you can reach me via the contact link on our website at shesaidpodcast.com. And if this episode resonated with you, I would be really, really grateful if you could leave a review on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen to podcasts. Friend, take care. Have a great week, and I'll see you again real soon. She Said Podcast is a weekly production of She Said Media.